Hi, my name is Mia Wood. I'm a professor of philosophy at Pierce College, and I'm looking forward to working with you this semester, spring 2020, in Philosophy 9 Symbolic Logic online. Now, this course operates online the same way as it does in an on-campus environment. What I add to this course that I hope is helpful to you is a series of videos that are recorded on campus during the face-to-face meetings so that you, if you want, have a feeling of being engaged in the same way that you would if you were taking an online class. I said same way, but it's really not exactly the same because you can't interact in the way that we do when we meet on campus. But um, that interaction issue, I hope, is taken care of by online office hours. More about that in a little bit. Anyway, what I want to do in this video is show you around our Canvas course, tell you what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, so that you have a pretty good idea when you start wandering around looking at the course of what's involved. What is really important for you to remember is that this course, whether it's on campus or online, tends to be difficult. It doesn't mean you can't do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But it tends to be difficult, which means you've got to stay committed. So one of the ways in which you stay committed is working pretty much daily on the course and letting me know whenever you run into trouble. So I have online office hours, I have face-to-face office hours, and I can meet by video conference outside of office hours. So it's really, really important that you take the time to make sure that you are organized and that you set aside, or that you've set aside the time as well to ask questions when you have trouble. Okay, so don't start wandering around the course until you've watched this video because it should be the case when you're done with this video. Questions that would arise if you just started noodling around will be answered here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our Canvas course. And then if you have questions, problems, confusions, let me know. Don't wait. Okay, so here we are on my dashboard. So when you log into Canvas, you get taken to your dashboard. You're going to see a gray icon with some logic notation, and this is us, Phil 9 Online, Symbolic Logic. Let's start from the far left margin. The far left margin or ribbon of icons is the same no matter what course you take at Pierce. So you always see the account, your account, dashboard, courses, calendar, inbox, this is important, and then help, which is also important. Your inbox is the email program that you will use to send and receive messages for this course. And then in the next margin over, there is a series of customized links. So here's what you're seeing. Obviously, we're on our home page. If you click on the syllabus link, you will see the boilerplate syllabus, and it includes our schedule. And then at the bottom, Canvas automatically plugs in all of the assessment items and their dates. So that's one way that you can see where we are in the course and what you need to do. Another way that you can see where we are in the course and what you need to do is by clicking on the assignments link. And there you will see a series of upcoming events. If you see it says past assignments, that's only because I haven't yet reopened them for this semester. So what you're going to want to do though, when you want to know where we are in the semester is, I'm going to click back to the home page, is look at the given page for whatever week we're on. So I'll come back to this in a moment because this is an important set of links that you're going to want to make use of. But continuing on, conferences is the link that our course embedded tutor uses. I'm pretty sure that this semester, this spring, it's Lindsay Lazo. If it's not, then I will make the adjustment. But she likes to use the conferences program to meet with you online. You can always come to my office during office hours. Alternatively, this is an online course, you're welcome to meet online. So if you, let's say, want to meet for a few minutes on Tuesday afternoons, and you're available, you just click on this link and it will take you to the Zoom program page. Typically, you'll want to download, if you haven't already, and install the Zoom programs. Basically, it's just FaceTime or Skype, um, but it's for we have free access to it. And then if you can't meet with me during my regular hours, let me know. We can always set up another meeting. And then, of course, other important links, the library page, other folks in the class, your grades, and then a terrific access to Office 365, which gives you the whole Office suite, as well as cloud saving space. Okay, so now the middle section is really the meat for us. You are watching this video, or sorry, you're watching this welcome video, but if you click on the Start Here link, you will see a couple of other important videos. And my advice to you is to do the following. Make sure you get through these before you embark on the course. And what I mean by that is make sure that you know what textbook we're using and the programs that go with it, how you can buy the package, and so forth. I'll say more about that in a little bit, but these are important videos for you to look at. Probably this last video, the overview of the programs, you'll want to look at once you actually have the software that we'll be using. All right, so I'm going to go back to our home page. If you continue scrolling down, we've got some resources, and then we have the link to the website where you can purchase either a paper copy or an electronic, a digital copy of our materials. More on that in a little bit. Continue scrolling down and you have some video tutorials, bunch of handouts, the course tutor discussion forum. So if you have a question, you can post it on the discussion forum. Lindsay will answer it. Again, I'm assuming that she's our tutor. She'll answer it during her hours. We'll know more what her hours are shortly. And then if you have general questions, problems, confusions, say the word, post them. Somebody else might be having a similar confusion and we can help each other out. I make sure I that I take a look at whether or not anybody's posted. I do that with some regularity. So it should be the case that if you don't have a pressing question, you don't want to shoot me an email, just post on the discussion forum. Then each week lays out the way it does on a regular paper syllabus. So let me tell you what I mean by that. We've got each of our weeks, all 17, which includes final exam week, and they're laid out the same way. So here's what you will see on every single page. You will see a list of topics that we're going to cover, the relevant chapters or sections from chapters from our textbook, and then optional videos. Now you might say, holy moly, Mia, you're giving me so many videos. This is just going to take too much time. Well, here's what you're going to want to think about doing. You might want to look at the basics videos. So for example, chapter 1 basics. As we get started on the course, the overview of logic might be useful to you as well. But generally, you might want to just do the chapter basics, which are basically course lectures, right, that you would get if you were sitting in a classroom. You also get the same from classes. So I'm going to re-record classes, or I mean, I should, in some sense that's true, and in another sense it's not true. I'm going to record classes this spring 2020, and you can follow along with those. Some of the in-class videos that you'll see on these pages are from a couple years ago, but you know, they're there. You might decide you want them, want to take a look at them rather. You might say, you know, I want to read the book. I don't really want to deal with videos, but maybe you say, oh, I want to watch this explainer, or I want to look at some practice videos that Mia's posted. In other words, you decide what videos you want to look at. And then lastly, so there's stuff to read, there's stuff to watch, and then important stuff to complete, right? So you want to complete discussion forums when they're due. We have 5 total, so it's not a ton. We have 10 reading quizzes total, and then we have exams. So let's move on to week number 2. Here again, we've got our topics, what we're going to read, stuff for you to watch if you choose to watch, and then stuff for you to complete. Notice exam 1 is on is due the end of our second week together. So it's really, really important that you start looking at the course materials, the textbook, the programs that we'll use to learn logic, and there's plenty of support for that. So don't feel like you're alone. And then when you click on in this case, a pre-exam, you'll have a series of multiple choice true-false questions that are meant to alert you to the concepts and skills that you want to employ when you're actually writing an exam. And then when you click on an exam, you'll see that you have access to practice exams. You have the exam itself. You are going to complete some exercises, or sorry, rephrase. Some of the exercises you complete for each exam you will upload to Canvas. Some you will submit to a remote grading site. So that's why it's important for you to pay attention to these video tutorials, because they will tell you how you are going to use programs, how you are going to submit work to the remote grading site, and then that's pretty much it on that front. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our home page. So every week is the same. Let me just grab a week randomly on a week number 8. And again, we have topics, readings, videos that you might choose to watch. And don't forget, I'll add as I'm recording this semester's face-to-face meetings. So you might say, oh, I want to watch the stuff that they're doing in the on-campus class. And then some people just like, tutorials or videos from other sources. So I've got those as well. All right, so now let's talk about the stuff that you are going to want to complete for grades. You can see on your far right upcoming stuff to do. Remember though that, as I mentioned before, you want to go into a given week to make sure that you are looking at what there is to do. You want to make sure that you cross-check with your syllabus so that you're not just relying on these links to tell you what to do and when, because they don't really give you the whole picture. So let's go to the syllabus. There is a set of assessments. We've got some discussions that we're going to complete. Those discussions are going to involve really important concepts and skills that you need to be able to work with, to be conversant with. And so the discussions offer you an opportunity to talk through concepts and skills with your classmates. There are reading quizzes that cover important concepts from the text. Then I have a series of pre-exams. Like I said a little bit ago, those are also multiple choice true false. They're meant to alert you to what you really want to focus on for an exam. Another way that you'll know what to focus on for the exam, for an exam in question, is the practice exam. So I'll come back to that in a moment. And then there are 4 exams, each of which is constituted by exercises I create and that you complete using the programs that we're using for the course. You upload those to Canvas, or yes, upload those to Canvas, and then other exercises that you're going to complete using the programs that we use to learn logic and that are connected to the textbook. So hold on to that thought because we're going to come back to that in a little bit. And then, like I said, I've got a bunch of other items here that should be useful to you in terms of how the course is going to run. So discussions, reading quizzes, pre-tests, tests, and then I also offer you opportunities to retest. So more on that later. Suffice it to say right now that um, if you complete an exam, it doesn't go well, or hey, it goes well, but you want to take the retest just because, I will take the better of your two scores for exams 1, 2, 3, and 4, because in fact, there is an exam for, effectively, it's an exam for, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's effectively a pretest, but I don't want to call it a pretest because I already have named other things pretests. Okay, so let me show you let's see, let's go to the website where you can buy the textbook. But I'm not going to spend but a moment here because there are other videos that will tell you about the textbook that we're going to use and the programs that go with it. But let me just very quickly show you that if you go to the LPL website, that's the Language Proof and Logic website, this is the textbook you're going to buy. You could just click on the buy link and then notice $55 for the paperless package, 80 for the physical package. Now, I don't care which one you get, and I'm sorry that you have to have a textbook. I like to use open resource materials, but uh, I've, in consultation with a colleague of mine, decided that the programs that we use that are associated with this textbook are really good, and so it's worth buying. I should also point out that the license, your credentials for the software, never goes away. So it's not like you're leasing the license, you own it. So more on that on other videos. But this is where you will buy the textbook that we are going to use. Of course, you can buy it elsewhere. Just make sure that it is not used and that it comes with access to the software. Okay, so now let's go back to our home page. I mentioned that there are practice exams. So let me say a little bit about that. Under basically our course resources link, we have the textbook itself. So I'll get to that in just a moment. We have lecture notes. We have rules and strategies sheets. Those will be useful to you once we get to chapter 6. Then we have we have practice exams and keys. So if you want to know what a given exam is going to look like, just look at the practice exam. It looks, even though the exercises are different from the actual exam, it looks just like, in terms of level of difficulty, number of exercises, and format, the exam that you'll actually take. Okay, so now let me go back out to our home page, go back down to our resources. So remember I mentioned that I got the textbook right here for you, right? You are actually not purchasing the textbook when you buy the paperless or paper book. Yes, you're buying it, but really what you're buying is access to the programs, and more specifically, the remote grading program called the Grade Grinder. So basically what you've got with this textbook, and I'm going to try and scroll down a little bit so you can see what I am talking about, but it's a big textbook, so it might take a minute to load up. But so the idea is that when you read the textbook, you get to the end of a given section, and there are exercises that you are asked to complete for practice, or maybe they are exercises that are assigned for an exam, but you complete those exercises. You complete the exercises using one of the programs that we're going to be using. Then you save the exercises using a naming convention that the book dictates, and then you send those exercises using a program called Submit. It's basically an email program for your logic exercises. You submit the exercises to a remote grading service called the Grade Grinder. All right, so let me do this. Let's see. I'm going to jump into 4.2, Chapter 4, Section 2. At least I hope I am. Sorry it's loading so slowly. I think it's loading slowly just because it's a big book. So let's try this instead. I'm just going to go ahead and download the PDF. Notice for me, the way I have my machine set up, the PDF downloads and opens in Acrobat, but it might, depending on how your machine is set up, it might open just in a new tab in your browser. All right, so I'm scrolling. All right, here we go. Let's take exercise 6.36. So this is chapter 6, exercise 36. And the instructions say, use Tarski's world to build a world in which the following sentences are all true. What you're going to want to do is open up a program called Tarski's World, and then in a particular case, you might be asked to open up a specific exercise, a specific file, or you might be told that you're going to input sentences. So let me scroll up to give you another idea of what I mean by opening up a program. And I'm just doing this really quickly because, again, there's another video. There's another video that has the details of using these programs. So okay, actually, let me focus on the you try it. So at the very beginning, first time you're going to try using the program, you're told that you're going to open up Tarski's World, right? So launch Tarski's World, and then you're going to open up a file called Wittgenstein's World and Wittgenstein Sentences. Then you're going to do a bunch of stuff, right? So notice that you're told step by step how you're going to do things. Once you get used to the programs and you get used to the sort of the language that's used, the naming conventions and so forth, they won't give you such detailed instructions, but it's good to work these early exercises so that you have an idea of what it is that you're going to be asked to do. And then once you're ready to work an exercise, let's say for an exam, if you've been practicing all along, you will have already completed the exam effectively, or at least the part of the exam that comes from the textbook. So take a look at the instructions right below the work that you're asked to do in exercise 1.2. Save these sentences in a file named sentences 1.2. You have to name the file exactly as instructed. Otherwise, the grading program won't know what to do with your work. Okay, so that's probably more than I should have said about the textbook and the programs. Please take a look at the videos that are associated with the buying the programs and using the programs. Those are important. Okay, so you have an idea of what we are going to do. We are going to read text, watch videos, and complete discussions, quizzes, pre-exams, exams, and in some case, retests, depending on how things are going. And since this is a skills-based course, it's important for you to practice, then practice some more, which brings me to my last point. There is additional practice that I've created or that I've stolen from other textbooks for all of the really tough stuff that we're working on in the derivation chapters, chapter 6, 8, and 13, but also some translation practice for what's known as quantifier logic. That tends to be a little bit tricky. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. Don't wait. And I will try to help you. I typically try to respond no later than 12 hours after you send an email, at the outside 24.